You know, as a older gentleman, sometimes it takes a while for streaming to start.
See that now.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if we're going or not. Oh, looks like we might be. Hey, looks like we're live. Check
Oh
us out.
no. Hey, look, it's you.
Hey, it's you.
No,
It
no way.
it says we're
Where have
live.
you been?
It
You
says
I thought I was fired.
no. I
Oh, damn it.
no, we were on the same uh European tour. You
Oh yeah,
wouldn't you wouldn't even talk to me as we were going through Europe,
of
and
course.
you were having all these wonderful little meals and food, and I don't know why all the food you get is like this big, but I'm in McDonald's, you ditched me.
Yeah.
Did have some Taco Bell, that was a mistake. Don't go to Taco Bell and then get on the channel. Tom Tullis knows what I'm talking about.
Tom Tullis does know what you're talking about. So, Skeeter Green, how the fuck are you?
Um, you know, wading my way through existential dread.
Oh,
But we will get into my issues in the second half of
oh,
our
okay.
show because now we have a new format. So we are going to do show and tell for the first portion of our show, and then we are going to do Skeeter and Zach's small publisher seminar so we can start capturing some of this terrible advice I keep telling people, but they keep using, and we're gonna record it for posterity. And by posterity, I don't mean in your butt.
Well, it's not like super trouble advice. It's like pretty. It's pretty okay advice. I give it. It's the okayest advice on the internet for the price.
It is. You certainly get your money's worth
You do. You see? Oh, you
with
can't
our
see
advice.
green screen. Ah,
I cannot see that
it's
because
thicker.
that is for rectal use.
Only.
Yeah, that
I
that
keep forgetting
is
the green screen makes it disappear. It's awesome.
that is pretty fascinating. So why don't you
I know it is fascinating. You're an asshole. I haven't missed that part of you.
no, show us this fancy box set you just dug out of
Well,
the
you were saying when
nowhere.
you talk about it, and like, well, on short notice, I found this beautiful box set. You see that font? Do you
Uh,
see that font?
Zach, on short notice, you are surrounded by a treasure trove of RPG
Yeah, I
material.
know. I got more, but I'm gonna figure out open this one up. But this is King of the Mountain, 1980. Completely unknown to me. Never heard of it. Never seen it once.
The only king of the mountain that I know about is when we used to have that in gym class. The
Oh yeah, I bet that didn't happen anymore.
Yeah, no, that was always great because they would take the wrestling mats and stack it up, and like one person would be on top, and you literally beat the shit out of everybody trying to
Yeah, I don't
knock
see
you
that
off of
being
that.
cool. Not this day and age.
You totally could not do that anymore. Greetings, my empress. You're the only one in here because we only allow the cream of the crop.
That's correct. King of the Mountain. Now, this strategy game. Oh man, the font gets even better and better. Look at these character cards. Woot.
Oh wow, your light bleaches everything out when you put it by the camera. I can't see anything.
Well, it's okay
It's
because
all right.
it
No,
was actually
no,
pretty ugly.
nobody really cares about anything we do anyway.
No, no one does, and that's why I like being me. Ah,
Is
it's
that a
terrible.
game board? Wow,
Yeah,
that
there's
is
the mountain. There's your wrestling mat, Skeeter Green,
all
and then
right.
there's you going up top, throwing little kids off the side, breaking their ankles, hurting them,
Yep,
all on dice rolls, dude.
yep.
Because you could be one of 9 characters here, and they all have, well, let's just say they stole token-esque names. 1980, that was what you did. You
Well,
got
yeah.
Tarl and, ooh, sorry, Robert E. Howard theft, Conan. Anyway,
Did they
so
really
this is
just
one I'd never
nab
seen, never
Conan?
heard of. It's for 2 to 10 players, and I bought it because I'd never seen, never heard of it, which is generally why I do that kind of shit.
Well, yeah. You have all kinds of stuff like that.
Well, I, I showed some of this on Facebook before. This is the tome of Mighty, not just any Mighty Magic. Look at that wizard, dude. See if I can get him right. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. No, that is some cutting edge technology on the cover there.
1981, dude. And I have to tell you, there's a spell in here about mating.
That is straight out of a used bookstore that smells like paper.
It does. I mean, the art, dude. The art. Look at that. Let's see if I get in there.
Oh yeah, those are gangbangers right there.
Yep. But yeah, the lady's smile is a spell.
It
It's blessed
is.
by the smile of Lady Luck. But they got a bunch of like bizarro shit in here. Like there's one for like door to
Really?
door.
That totally surprises me by the cover of that book. That
No,
it,
but have you ever seen a door to door salesman spell?
um, I feel like this is going to get into a weirder version
Oh,
of
wait,
porn.
oh no, you have no idea.
Oh, I feel like I do. I feel like I have an
What do you
idea.
think special immunities are?
You're not going to get any itchies on your hang down.
That is so very close.
Oh my God.
How about insane spellcaster?
Um, Kurt, you know, honestly,
He
we
looks like the guy in the front of this cover. That
we
Kurt.
have two people watching. It's Alyssa and Kurt,
Oh my God.
which really just
I think
sums
that's
up
Kurt.
our.
I honestly think that's Kurt.
It
Kurt,
could be.
please put in Dungeons and Dragons 6th edition, will you please put the mating spell in there? We really think the world is ready for that.
I feel like just having D&D in the title is the anti-mating spell, but that could just be
Well, that's back in the day, dude.
that
Have you
could
seen Matt
just be
Mercer? He's got
my
groupies.
my 80s RPG nerd fear coming back.
I mean, between Matt Mercer and Kurt Gould, dude, they got groupies falling around everywhere they go. It's true.
Yeah, Joe Manganiello.
Oh, who?
I mean,
You mean Kurt Gould, right?
yeah. Actually, Joe Manganiello is just a suit that Kurt Gould
Kurt
wears
wears.
to conventions. Like, you were in? Oh no, you weren't there when we tried to convince somebody that didn't know Greg Vaughn that the Greg Vaughn that was at the convention was just an actor hired to portray Greg Vaughn because
You know,
the
you get away
actual
with that,
guy,
Greg.
yeah, that was so awesome. Oh,
Hey,
and now he left.
Kurt, I would too. Hey, there's a spell called Wimp.
Yeah, I wrote that. Don't shame me.
I'm not sure. Summon the dastardly Fed. Oh, that's weird.
You can't even say it.
No,
That is okay. So here's a precursor.
I don't know if you can see it. Philomogrixerid. That's
Yeah,
the word right there.
nope, I don't know. Uh, that is a precursor to our small publishing thing. If you throw a word
Yeah,
into a title that has 15 or more letters and you can't pronounce it,
Or more
that
than one apostrophe.
that is RPG gold.
Yeah, that's like on the RPG bingo. You ever had that bingo card? You ever see that publisher's bingo card?
No.
Oh, we have to do an episode on that one.
Okay.
It's a whole card for RPG publisher or RPG editor bingo.
Oh,
It's
that
awesome.
that would be amazing. We need to do a Gygaxian bingo
Oh,
card.
shit. We make a list. You know, we should invite. We need to invite Meinhardt on for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
that
got
would
one of
be great.
these.
You keep waving it around. It looks like a sex toy.
It does look like a sex toy, but it's actually it's a sword mount for a VR controller.
Oh my God. You have evolved into the next level of nerddom. It wasn't RPGs were not enough. Now
Nope.
you can't even play RPGs in the real world. You have to get cyber nerd.
Well, that and I now collect H.P. Lovecraft narrations because there's not enough to have Call of Cthulhu on Audible. I got to have all the Call of Cthulhu's on Audible.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So anyway, I have one more thing to show, and this one's actually very cool and very rare. This is the Dungeons and Dragons starter set en français.
Oh, so
Ooh.
fancy.
It is very fancy. Les Jeux Rôle. Now, I'm gonna be a little careful here, but this has
When
got
you open it up, does it burst out with just general disdain?
yeah, it kind of smells like unfiltered cigarettes at cafes.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's got a big giant map that actually It's very nice.
That
Actually,
is,
nicer than the ones
yeah,
that I recall
it's
Zero
very
says.
sharp looking.
I would take it apart, but it's too valuable to show you. And then comes with a wonderful poster map.
Nice.
It has a couple of books. One,
Very nice.
two, all
Wasn't
both
wasn't
soft covered,
wasn't
very
that
nicely printed.
wasn't
Probably
that
never opened.
also sold separately?
Uh,
That
I don't
monster
know.
book? It looks
I've
like
seen
the
other D
cover.
and D books like that, but not that one.
Oh,
There. And then,
is very nice.
yeah, very nice. Some posters, postcards. These are the ones that are set up for the game. Here's a character sheet that comes that size, postcard size. Let me see if I can get it in there without the light.
You have
There
too
we go.
much light.
Better.
See, you gotta live in a cave like I do in here.
I could turn the light down. But anyway, but they have also
But the
character
light
cards.
always shines on you, Zach.
It does, dude. So character cards that come with it.
Very
But
nice.
the one thing I will say, it has a miniature for each character, right? And there.
What?
Yeah,
That's got to be hella expensive to produce.
it probably is. I don't know if you can see. There you go. This
Those
one.
are very tiny. Very tiny.
Yeah. Look, this one looks like Kurt Gould because it's got a big sword.
It's a buff warrior.
Buff warrior. That is cool. But here's the part that I think is the greatest. I know you're gonna laugh at me. You're not gonna take me seriously because you never do. But this molded plastic tray
Yes.
says Advanced Dungeons and Dragons in it when they molded it.
That alone is probably worth a fantastic amount. Is it in French?
Oh yes. No,
So-
actually, no, that is not. That's actually it says Dungeons and Dragons. In French, it's Donjons and Dragons usually.
Dungeons.
Donjons and Dragons, but it's
Because
weird
I'm
because
so fancy.
they used to have the Dungeons and Dragons that says D&D, but they didn't in third edition apparently. Because I just looked yesterday at Amazon France, which I won't say why. I just did for no reasons, Jen. And they had the fifth edition books that say Donjons and Dragons and actually in French on the cover.
Nice.
So I have to investigate that. I know for all of you, all five of you who collect foreign editions of Dungeons and Dragons, we'll
That
have to investigate.
that used to confuse the shit out of me when I was a kid. Why dungeon was spelled differently. Because I read phonetically. So it was like, this is the same word. Why is it spelled differently?
No, it is a little weird because I'll go grab one. I was like, well, I don't need to. Donjon, Donjon is how you spell it in French, and so all the stuff made before third edition always had that spelling.
Yeah.
And then everything in third edition apparently has Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, that's because they stopped making
Dungeons.
language specific versions. They just decided to print one. We could probably get Mr. Kurt Gould to weigh in on why that is so, but
It's probably his fault.
he probably said, "Hey, here's an opportunity for us to make some money. Let's not reprint these in a native language because we want to have." Let's see, when was that made?
Well, that was third edition, so,
So
let me look
it's-
for a date.
It's
It's
third
TSR on
edition.
it's got TSR still as a maker, so
Oh,
yeah,
early 2000s.
copyright 1998.
All right. Well, maybe they were just trying to make a buck.
Mind you, there's no mating spell in there. Where there's a mating spell in this one. I recommend this one because of the mating spell.
Yes, fantastic. I also have some items to show
Yeah,
off.
please show.
I recently acquired this. This will be
Ooh.
more fascinating for you comic book nerds, of which I know there are some. That is the new HeroClix Galactus, and he's a big one.
He's a big one.
He's a
What was he
full.
about $12?
Um,
About $12?
no, times 10.
That seems reasonable.
No, you can actually get it for less than that right now because a lot of people are doing pre-orders. But the older version of him that's over there, way more than that.
Did you see the Dungeons and Dragons stuff they sold at Walmart?
I got the metal figures.
Yeah, the metal figures, but they also, I was at Walmart and I was amazed because for the first time in Cottonwood, Arizona, this little actual town I live in, sold a brand new Dungeons and Dragons role playing game product, and it was at Walmart. They had the Player's Handbook, they had the DMG, and
Really?
they had Matt Mercer's book from Critical Role.
Uh, Excellent. I know the Target by our house has the fifth edition starter set
Essentials box, right?
and the other box set,
Yeah.
which is the
No, hey
not
man,
starter.
I got to tell you that I will give this to Wizards of the Coast. They know how to actually have taken a product and bring it back from not just like you know like from like just obscurity, but like back from like being like a laughing stock to
Right,
being awesome.
right. And
So here's to you, Wizards of the Coast.
yeah, you're gonna get your nerd cred card beat up for giving Wizards any credit, since it's their goal to destroy role playing by making it accessible for other people.
Those assholes. If you only
Hey,
told me.
you we promised that we were not going to talk about politics, but I'm going to get all up in the social aspects of gaming.
Because that's what makes everything better.
Yeah, yeah. I would get. Speaking of making nothing better, I would also like to show this off.
Who did that cover?
That would be from our friend and compatriot, Keelan Halverson, Wonky.
Wonky.
And one thing I'd like to point out, this, I don't know if can you hear that? That,
Sounds like a porn movie.
yeah, that is what is known as a hardback book.
Ooh.
When you talk to a publisher and they give you a perfect bound softcover book and say, "Well, this is what you okayed," that is not. You can't do this on a softcover book. I don't care how much you think it's nice. So yeah, that was in our. Yes, see, that's not it.
You're right.
In
You can't.
our second segment, where Zach and I will talk small publishing tips, tricks, and Kickstarter information, we'll go into uh, more depth at how angry I am at publishers. Because
You
that
should make sure you do that in a little more
printers,
organized way
sorry,
than usual.
sorry, not publishers. I am a publisher, so
Printers. He
printers.
needs printers.
Yes,
See this picture behind me? That's what he wants to do to his printer.
yes. Um, in other news, now that I will hijack this and make this a house organ for SGP, I have some art to show off.
Is it a big organ?
Um,
They're
un-
huge.
Unfortunately, not.
No.
Not at all. So here's some art that is going to show up in next year's SGP. Uh, Crypto Codex is the monster book that I'm planning, and this is one of the featured pieces. This is done by Diogo Nogueira, and
Very
I
nice.
hope to God I'm actually pronouncing that right. I am the worst, but a lot of people know
He's from some
Diogo.
country that's not ours, right?
Yes, he
Right on.
is. He
Is he
is.
Brazilian?
Yes.
Like the wax?
Uh, Carnuba. Um,
Sorry. Sorry, Brazil. I actually think you're an awesome country.
no, Diogo's a publisher. He's got a bunch of books. He does things through Gallant Knight Games. He is an excellent artist, as you can tell, and that is one of about a half dozen pieces of his that are going to be in my new book. Hopefully in February. That's when the Kickstarter is going to go.
Is this a book about gods or monsters or men or
Monsters.
adventure? Is it?
I've said monsters like 3 times.
We'll say it louder.
It's a monster book
Okay.
called Crypto Codex, and it is going to be for the DCC and MCC rule sets, dual
Right on.
statted, because they are monsters that can be used in either or and a mixture. So good stuff.
Well, we would be fools not to mention that if you've never played DCC, you can get it for real cheap now on Home Model.
Yes, they have a humble bundle, and I should have put that up as a link, but I decided, you know what? We're going to do this our original kind
Original
of
incompetent way.
our original incompetent garage band sort of way. Um, One thing we do have to talk about this weekend.
Oh, man. I've heard of this Game Hall Con, but I just don't know, man.
This guy Axel Kramer, he puts on a pretty good show. Um, it is literally it is less organized than the show you're not listening to right now. Um, but you know they do pretty well because there's never been anything that happens in Wisconsin around this Madison or Lake Geneva area. It's a dearth of role playing.
Yeah,
So
there
they
really
have
is
to
nothing
put
going
these
on there.
yeah they have to put these shows on to get five or six people around a table. But
I hear that my one of my neighbors, Mr. Matthew Finch, is doing a game there.
the hell you say?
What the hell I say?
We were going to do our small publisher seminar for
But
Game
you had
Hole
to have your
Con,
game.
but I fucked it up, and I'm running 3 slots of DCC, MCC, Crypt of the Science Wizard, which I have run in 2 other conventions, and it has been hilarious. It is entirely different than the previous runnings of it, and very enjoyable, a lot of fun. Everybody's having a great time. So if you have not gotten a badge and signed up to play some games at Virtual Gamehole Con, what are you even doing with your life?
Yeah, really. Like, if you think you have a life, you don't have one until you've been in one of Alex Cameron's cons.
I will tell you right now, don't worry about the news. Don't worry about what's going on out in the world.
In fact, quit worrying about it.
Don't worry about COVID. Stay in your house, get on your computer, go to Virtual Gamehole Con, and for, a 4 hour slot, actually enjoy your life again.
Yeah, it actually works. You'd be
It
amazed.
does.
It cures COVID. At least,
That statement cannot be verified by our doctors at this time.
no, I meant it. Sorry, I meant it cures COVID
It can
lockdowns.
cure, yeah, it can cure your unhappiness from everybody being unhappy. Yeah, get in a group, meet some people, and talk about a subject where you will not fight and argue. It's gaming. Have some fun.
No one ever fights and argues in gaming. I mean, armor class, those that problem was solved years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, look at hit dice.
armor class,
Alignment, no
Thaco,
problem.
and and Zach, how do we pronounce it?
Uh,
Boule.
oh, bullet.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna throw down, and I am Team Boule.
I need to put a helmet on because when it hits me in the head.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think that helmet is working very well.
Well, in case Tim Cass comes out of the sky and yells at me.
Yeah. Um, another thing we're gonna do is help our friends in the gaming industry. And by helping our friends in the gaming industry, we are going to talk about. Um, we're not going to talk about this. No, we are going to talk about this. This is our buddy Ben.
Harsh.
Ben Barsh, Pace Setter Games, crushing yet another Kickstarter. How
Yep.
many has he done? Like 12
All I can tell you is that
this
you can
year?
sure to get it. There's one thing he does not do is promise not deliver.
Yes.
He Ben Barsh is he's like the one shining light of hope I have for the next generation.
Well, there are other
No,
shining
there's no others.
lights.
Just him. He's it. If it's not for him, we're out of luck.
Well, he does have the best hair in the business.
Exactly. His
But
genes are going to make sure the race propagates, man.
But this piece right here by Raven, who is another one of the young gunslingers of the
Okay, too.
RPG world. Um, yeah, she is hobbled by her lineage, uh,
Yeah,
but she
there's
does.
somebody who's really taken like a tough row in life in terms of genetics and really made it shine.
Yeah, yeah, she has overcome her low station. And look at this. I mean,
I
this
know.
is fantastic.
No, it's good stuff.
I would seriously talk some shit and say she could give Lloyd Metcalf some art tips, but that might be pushing my luck.
She could do it.
I think so. Uh, yeah, I mean this is great. There's some more crazy shit from Wonky.
Gosh, I recognize the talent behind some of that page design.
One of the nice things, and this is actually written by Tom Wilson,
I know him.
a good friend of
Yeah, I know him.
ours. Yeah, um, but yeah. So basic setting, basic rules, still getting the love after all
Right.
of these years. I mean,
They're good rules.
yeah. So it's nice to support some people doing stuff that they enjoy. Um,
Doing it
Tom's
well too.
Tom's amazing. He's a hell of a worker.
False
Um,
Promises is still one of my favorite modules written, period. He wrote that was one for his like 5 years ago. It is still, I think, one of the best modules I've actually read and been through, like going, wish I designed that.
I mean, this looks like a picture, and this is art. This was
Is that about
created
Raven?
out. No, this is wonky.
God, that wonky kid's pretty good too.
I mean, that's the thing is we look through this and go, "Oh, who did that great art? Was it
No,
Raven?
seriously.
No, it was wonky. Oh, no, that one was Raven."
You know what?
It's
Go back
fantastic
up. Go
stuff.
back up. This says social media. That smells like Pex right there. I swear, I think I can smell Pex's influence on that.
I
There's a character you have to avoid, dude.
I thought that smell was burnt, soggy burritos.
No, it's actually Basement.
Oh, it's basement and victory.
Yeah,
That,
that's
that,
right.
that is what we're smelling there.
Basement and profitability. That's how you make Pex.
Uh, so I want to throw out there for those of you that back this fine magazine.
I'm excited. I filled out the thing for the other day.
Yep, this is coming at you. This is getting up in your face, and I happen to know that one of the contributors for Scientific Barbarian number 2 just turned in their manuscript.
What handsome guy could that be, Steve Green?
I have no idea, but what it I
Is his
do
name Folk Man?
I know that the article introduces a new patron AI for your post-apocalyptic pleasure,
Ooh.
which yeah, it sounds like you're getting a little sand
Post-apocalyptic
in there.
pleasure is an awesome term. We
Yeah,
should that should be the next name of the next scientific barbarian title.
I would not even dare to speak for the Mr. Jim Wamplier because
Then
now I'm
we
going
should
to
use
use the French version of that.
post-apocalyptic pleasure. Pop.
Yes, the pap. Ooh.
Pap smear. Oh,
Yeah, no, you ruined it.
I did quickly too,
Yep,
faster than usual.
yeah.
So, Skeeter Green, let's do one topic each week that we talk about for the small publisher stuff. I think this time, I really want to hear you talk about your successes with the printer,
Okay, so
and then afterwards, I'll talk about my experiences with it too. But first, you have to hear the total success that Skeeter's always had with printers and how they make sure that your product comes out the way you envision it. Go, Skeeter Green.
so first of all, when you are a small publisher, I strongly encourage you, as I was strongly encouraged by the Steve Jobs of role playing games and my personal mentor, get yourself an Excel spreadsheet, put down every bit of math you can think of that is going to affect your project. get your numbers square because your numbers will not lie to you. See,
I
and
think I know this guy.
the minute I started talking about fucking Steve Jobs of role playing games, the bitch shows up in the chat.
Nuh-uh.
So, um, anyway, so that was a bit of advice. Get your numbers square. So when you have cost overruns,
Which you might have.
which you might have, and I'm getting there. I'm stoking the fires for
All right,
this
all right. I'm quiet.
fucking thing. Make sure you're not offering too much in your pledge levels. Make
Come
sure
on,
you
dude.
make sure you know when you have things that you're going to add to your pledge levels for stretch goals, don't make them in the core book because that fucks up your layout. And that causes your layout professional to have anxiety. And if your layout professional is working for somebody like me, who forgets when they've had conversations with you, and I ask you a question like every hour for 3 days, you get anxious about it. And it increases your shipping costs and it causes you all kinds of problems. The reason I bring this up is my idea was very simple. I was going to have a soft cover book version and I was going to have a hardcover book version because what happened was I got this art as a
That's pretty good.
as a fucking promo poster.
That's pretty good stuff.
My artist, Keelan Halverson, Wonky, just this was a throw in. And looking at that, I had some people look at it and go, "Oh, you got to make that a cover. That is amazing." So that became the limited hardcover book. Now's the point we get to the story where my anger starts to build.
Ooh.
I went to a local company. This was the company that did my 5e and my Swords and Wizardry versions. Came out beautiful. I did that's the saddle stitch where you staple it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is, right?
Yes, it
I
is.
just want to make sure I get my terminology right because I'm gonna get
Why?
fucking angry here in a little bit. So my first modules, saddle stitched, detachable cover. We ran into some issues because they didn't understand the detachable cover. It had to be recut twice. Everything was worked out. They gave me a price. They came back after the fact on the first run and said, "Oh, we would normally charge X amount. We only charged you this amount." I was the bigger person. I said, "Let's meet in the middle. I don't want you to be out a whole lot of money, but this is what you quoted me." So I paid more. It's like, that's cool. Not a big problem. I go back for my DCC, MCC books. Again, saddle stitched, attached cover this time. Make it simple. They came out beautiful. Printed, they're a nice green, vibrant, wonderful. I say, "Hey, how's about you make me some hardback books as well?" "Okay, we don't do that, but we have a vendor that does that."
That bindery, right?
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I get the quote. Wonderful. It's going to be perfect bound in the book.
That's not.
I'm not doing the Frog God, textbook stitch every page
You
into
said
it.
perfect bound, though.
What?
You just said perfect bound.
Yeah, perfect bound. That's the glued in one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a soft cover one.
Right. Well, here's where stuff gets funky. Yeah, perfect bound hardcover.
That's what you told them,
Yes.
and they
And
didn't say that's not right.
and I got a quote for hardback books that was X amount. And I said,
Reasonable,
"Cool.
right? Like, this is not so bad, you said.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I can make this work.
I can make
Yeah.
this work.
Um, let me see.
So let me see your hardcover.
On what fucking planet is that a hardcover book?
On Perfect Bound Planet.
They're nice.
They look nice.
They're super nice.
So did your quote say Perfect Bound or hardcover?
It said both.
Ooh, see now that is where that's where you can actually you wind your anger up, Skeeter Green. Wind it up.
So
Bring it up the higher. Anger more.
so
Anger.
what happened was I got 150 of these books.
You didn't get proof?
I got a proof from the vendor who sent me an email,
An e-proof.
an e-proof.
Never e-proof.
This is my e-proof. So I got them and I opened them up and I looked at them in the
And
parking
you said,
lot.
oh wow.
And I went back to the lady who gave me these boxes of books and said, these are wonderful, but they're not hardcovers. And she said, that's what we consider hardcovers. And I said, I can bend the cover. That is not a hardcover. She said, well, you verified the proof and said, okay. And I said, you know what? I did. And I turned around and walked away. And then I scrambled. Now, this was in October
This
that I've.
explains why I didn't hear much from you in October.
This is in October, so I found this. So I scrambled and I found a printer that could give me hardcover books. And I got those hardcover books very quickly. And I have actually shipped most of my rewards. Most of my physical rewards have been shipped out almost a month early.
And
So,
cheaper.
no.
Sorry.
That mistake cost me $2,200.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
And I've got these books. I will be able to sell these books eventually. But as far as right now, my Kickstarter broke even ish. So the money that you're supposed to set aside for taxes, that's gone. The money in profit you're supposed to set aside to do your next book, that's gone. The money that you're supposed to set aside for shipping and spending $30 to mail a book to fucking Germany or Australia, some of that I've got because that was a pledge. They had to pay their shipping costs after the fact. So that's still okay. But everyone that whole in October because the US is on fire and the postal service can't do anything and we need to increase our shipping rates happened the fucking day before I started shipping. So, yeah, all these little things I make these mistakes so you out there, you small publishers, you can learn from my errors.
Can I tell a story, Skeeter?
Please do, because I'm about to throw some shit, and this is a story I've been living for 3 weeks.
So, Skeeter Green,
Yes.
often I will have people complain about the price of the books from Frog Out Games, which I happen to be COO of, if you don't know. They complain they're too expensive. Why are they so expensive? Well, let me tell you, picture Skeeter Green's problem at $2,200 with 150 copies of a book, correct? Multiply that times 1,500,
Right.
and you all mistakes cost a lot of money, but it's not even a mistake. Every little thing you do in publishing, the smallest thing, costs money. And every
Hmm.
time you have to do a proof, especially when you're working with overseas printing, it costs money to get it shipped to you. They send you what they call dummies. Everything's expensive. So when you see a small publisher charging $60 for a book, that isn't usually because they're sitting there on the beach like tossing up shrimp and eating them. That's because it's effing expensive. And when you're understanding with, especially with smaller publishers, when you see a book that costs $60 and you know there's a print run of 200, 400, you this is not a small investment when especially it's not print on demand, when it's actually printed traditionally. This is expensive. And it's the kind of thing that I think that it would do our hobby wonders to be a little more understanding. Because what makes our hobby great is the ability to, it's the low barrier to entry. But when you make the low barrier to entry a giant pain in the ass for people who are already suffering, it's really hard. And I think that to remember that would do a lot of people a lot of good. Because when you complain about the cost of an item, that cost is almost always just above break even for people who are starting out for sure. Your first RPG project, no matter how much you learn from anybody, is going to cost you another $1,000 than you think. And there's, I mean, Kickstarter, and there's been marriages ruined over this stuff. There have been families, people go broke. I mean, this is not unserious stuff. So make sure that, when you, like what Skeeter said at the very beginning, you talk to a guru and you say, okay, these are the costs I know. I'm going to multiply this times 1.4 because I have the costs I don't know. And this is after doing homework. And so when you think of an MSRP, you do the same thing. When you think of a delivery date, what's the first thing you think of when you look at Kickstarter delivery dates, Skeeter? You're doing,
Uh,
I always like when I'm doing my own. I mean, I don't get in arguments, but I certainly talk to people that I work with. That this needs to
oh
be
yeah,
2 months from now.
yeah,
Whatever date we come up with,
absolutely.
you got to add 60 days because everything takes longer and it's almost never the fault of the publisher. It's the fact that everybody in the chain is busy. All right. There
Yeah.
are no good layout professionals who have nothing but time. They're all busy. Artists, same way. Any artist is going to
Well,
deliver on time. It's going to be super busy. And if they're 2 or 3 days late, it goes downhill. And it is not their fault. I mean, not usually.
yeah. The issue is that when one thing goes sideways, it's a cascading effect. And I learned this big time in construction. Like you have certain things lined up and you have some days in there, but if you're framing a house and on Friday you expect to be hanging sheetrock, if on Friday morning you're still building walls, guess what? You ain't hanging sheetrock, which means you're not insulating, which means you're not painting,
Which means all
which
your quotes
means
go to hell.
you're you're fucked. And it happens quickly. I'm trying to find something specifically because I'm gonna get shitty about something.
Uh-oh. Is it me?
No.
Oh,
So, uh, yeah, I one of the Kickstarter lessons I have learned from Frog God Games, working behind the scenes for Frog God Games, from being an RPG Kickstarter backer, is if you are a small publisher and you are going to use Kickstarter, you better have your manuscript ready to go before your Kickstarter launches.
yes, you should.
And if you are going to have stretch goals that add material to your core book, and this is a little dirty little secret from publishers, you better already have a plan that you're going to use that shit no matter if you hit that stretch goal or
That should
not.
be built in your book already. And honestly, if you don't reach those stretch goals, you should be able to take that material out, save it for a supplement or PDF, and print it without. Because if you're not ready with that already, if you
Yep.
don't have stretch goals to go 200% of your Kickstarter, if you're expecting to go larger, it is more expensive to F up on the stretch goals late in the game because you think you're going to be able to cover it without research than it is to not have them at all, to just not promise any stretch goals. Honestly, there is a reason we do. Frog God does a lot of smaller stuff on Indiegogo is because we want to make sure our stretch goal model is so simple that we just think things like tokens or extra art. We do actually put those into books when we meet these things, but we're already ready to go. Those are machines. We pop them out of a couple of weeks because we have an idea what we're doing. Um, and we know that the stretch goal model, simple stretch goal model, really does make a difference because we're making really nice books, but we're making them quick and we're making them at a cost. And so we have a budget for it and everything else. So we're really pleased with how that works for us. We do recommend that highly to anybody who would do it. Keep those minimal. Skeeter's not lying to you. He may lie to you about other stuff. He may lie about other things, but not this one.
I will not, in these small publishers advice scenarios, I will not lie about shit that will end up costing you money. That that's a dick move and I'm not going to do that.
Now, there's other things he might lie about, but
Oh
not during
yeah,
this segment.
I will totally lie about other stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um so in this whole as we have kind of talked about, don't expand your stretch goals, know your schedule, know your costs, all that kind of stuff. The reason that that's important is every once in a while, there is a Kickstarter that fails to deliver on their delivery date.
Man, that's pretty rare though. I I can't think of one.
That happens. That happens. And depending on why it happens, it's a little bit more understandable. If somebody, if before the delivery date somebody said, "Hey, shit, my printer fucked me and I have to go to another vendor to get all new books," uh, it's gonna they have to be printed in a certain place. It's gonna be another month before I can do it. I'm so sorry.
Can I give a real world example?
That kind of communication is fine. I'm still rolling. I'll let you get back to yours, but this is a rolling fucking hate snowball going on. Yep. That kind of stuff is understandable. And if you communicate, that is generally okay. Now, if you have this happen and then your chosen printer is, say, in the southeast and it's hurricane season and their print facility gets whacked by a hurricane, you can tell your
Change quick.
backers, I I'm sorry, they are down. As soon as this is going, I'll get it to you. I'm going to look into other vendors. If you communicate that, that's fine. What is not fine, and this happened because I got a pledge 2 weeks ago from a Kickstarter that was 3 fucking years late.
Ooh,
It did deliver.
I'm impressed.
What happened was a series of bullshit excuses. I got sick. Oh, my kids got sick. I know all that stuff happens. It does happen. And I'm sorry if anybody feels personally called out, but this talk is the tough love that if you're not in a position where you can deliver a product that you have gotten money from other people, if you can't devote your time to doing that, don't fucking do a Kickstarter. This isn't some Etsy store where you can just put stuff up whenever you want. When you receive money from people, you owe them. And I know there was a debate for many years whether Kickstarter was a investment opportunity or it was a storefront or whatever. Doesn't fucking matter. If you are a business person and you accept money from somebody, you owe them something. Even if you can't get the book out, you owe those people something. And I
You know,
had
maybe as
to.
much as an apology, to be honest with you, for me, if you can, if you're going to be honest, being honest and showing up is more than zero. I've gotten zero number enough times to where I'll even accept that. But you're right. If you're going to start a Kickstarter, you should be prepared to make sure you can deliver. because like any other store, no matter what people say, you are engaging in a you're engaging in a process with somebody where they have an expectation and you're taking money.
Hmm.
Money means it's a transaction where I give you money and you give me product. That's the expectation.
You have at the very least a social contract.
I agree.
But that's the way I feel about it. Whatever the legality of that is, I am not a lawyer. Fuck, I don't know. What what was the lemon squeezings into the paper cut of this whole fucking experience was I had to pay for printing and shipping of this product to get it.
Oh,
Now, I doubt seriously if the person who did this product watches the show, knows anybody who knows us, whatever. I would have this conversation directly with anybody. I'm not even going to get into the fucking Ken Whitman bullshit of taking people's money and then quickly turning around doing another Kickstarter, taking more money and just saying fuck you people and then buying a comic book store and then fucking that guy. And this is not even to begin touching on the Far West fiasco because our buddy has handled that in a much more professional way than I would have. The bottom line is if you are going to use Kickstarter to get the funds to complete a project, you owe the people who put their good faith in you something. And I mean, I've got half a dozen Kickstarters that never did anything and just dropped off the face of the earth. I mean, the first Kickstarter I ever did was for a Cthulhu board game that the company just shit the bed and disappeared, and another board game company came in, took it over, and gave that to people. That is insane. I mean, the goodwill they gained from that, and all right, now I'm mad. Tomb of Horrors miniatures, center stage miniatures.
I remember him.
I was warned by somebody in the company not to do this deal. And I convinced the powers to be at Frog God Games at the time that this would be okay. And it fucking went sideways so badly. It was insane. And I kept asking, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? What can I do to help? Never got any response. And the reason that was a bitter pill for me, I personally told people that I was involved and I was trying to get it done, and I looked fucking stupid. And me looking stupid is fine if it's my own thing, but people pledged a lot of money, and I felt like I was the cause of them pledging money and losing it because
You never had access to it.
the jerk off just decided, yeah, I'm having some hard times, and yeah, I'm just not going to get it done. That's not acceptable. That is not a thing. If you are, I hope that everyone enjoys Virtual Game Hole this weekend.
Yes, it'll be awesome. Enjoy gaming, man.
Get into some games, have some fun, put your existential dread to the side for even a few hours, hug a loved one, masturbate in the corner, whatever you need to do,
Whatever it is that makes you happy, as long as it doesn't involve making
whatever
other
makes
people
you
happy,
happy.
go.
Um, I have one more thing that I was not going to bring up.
Oh no.
Our
What happened?
friend, our friend, Jason Gardner, had was diagnosed with lung cancer, had that successfully removed, doing good. I had uh, another one of my buddies go in, and he found out he had colon cancer. Had surgery, doing good. I got freaked out, went into the doctor and got tested, had my colonoscopy. They did whatever they do. Results came back that the things that they removed in my colonoscopy were precancerous. So I dodged a bullet because I listened to my friends. So I just want to tell all the guys out there and all the people, don't try to be too proud about your medical history. Cancer is bad news. We're getting to that age. I wasn't going to say anything just because I didn't want to talk about it, but it's important that people get their shit checked out so we're all around to game together. And on that note, try to
I'll
have
have
a
to put
good
you to
week,
someone with a
people.
finger. Yeah, Skeeter Green. I think you did the right thing. You did the right thing. You took one for the team, dude, and you should tell everybody else. That's what we all need to be. I'm serious. To take it for your health. Your health is serious. And we have a hobby where I like everybody I play games with. I really do. And Skeeter's not lying. Make sure we stay around for it.
So, all right,
All right.
we're
Very
gonna
good.
do this again next week.
That's the plan. Woo.
Adios.